5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're now tuned into the 411 podcast and reading Between the Wines, powered by the Black Diamond Consultations Network. More than a podcast, this is a sanctuary for self-discovery, healing, and personal growth. Here, we explore what it means to live debt-free, not just financially, but spiritually, mentally, physically, and emotionally. Every episode is part of a journey across our weekly mentorship series: Spiritual Sundays, Mental Mondays, Transformational Tuesdays, Wind Down Wednesdays, Coaching Sessions Thursdays, and Financial Fridays. Each day holds space for wisdom, clarity, and real conversation. So grab your journal, pour your glass, and prepare to go beyond the surface. Because here, we don't just talk, we transform. And now, here's your guide through it all: entrepreneur, mentor, and founder of Black Diamond Consultations, Laren Gaines.
Welcome on in. Welcome to Reading Between the Wines. If you're out there, I want to say thank you so much. If you can please do me a favor and please like, comment, share, subscribe, tag a friend, share this video with somebody, because you never know what types of breakthroughs will come through, and you never know who you can help. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, tag a friend, text a friend, do whatever you need to do. Welcome on in to Wind Down Wednesday, episode 44, Sip, Breathe, Repeat. I want to say that this is going to be a heavy show tonight. The message is heavy. Of course, you know we always have great conversation here. We have author Birdman 313 coming in. But this message tonight is heavy. So I want you to pay attention and please invite someone in who you know could possibly benefit from this. This 5 Restoration episode 44, part of the mentorship series, Sip, Breathe, Repeat. Today is Wednesday, August 13th. Before we move on, I want to give a very special thank you to my executive producer. I want to thank God for giving me another opportunity to come out here and give you the Reading Between the Wines show. There has been so many peaks, so many valleys in my own personal life and my personal journey, which, of course, this is the reason why I'm here podcasting. And ladies and gentlemen, we are embarking on the 5th year anniversary of the 411 podcast and Reading Between the Wines. 5 years. Could not believe it. I don't even know what to say. I'm kind of like thrown back by it all. I'm thankful, but I'm just amazed at the evolution of the podcast from the first podcast all the way up until now. Amazing. I started recording at my kitchen table with just my cell phone, with only 20 followers on Instagram, and look what we are here today. I stopped counting after a while. But it's just expanded and gone to just bigger heights. And again, I could not do this without each and every one of you out there. I could not do this without the Most High for making this all possible. And got some exciting things coming up for the 5th year anniversary, and we have the 411 podcast Reading Between the Wines live version coming up next month as well, September. So stay tuned for more information on that. We have a great lineup, which I will be announcing soon. And on that note, let's go ahead and get into the recap of our last episode. So the last episode, we went to Atlanta, Georgia. Shout out to anybody who lives in ATL. We helped out Mr. Tyrone. He made $92,000 a year. I'm going to repeat that. He made $92,000 a year. And with that money, it did not appear that Tyrone was doing the right thing with his money. So I challenged everybody during the last episode, and it may have came across kind of, alarming, or maybe That's a good word, alarming. And what I basically said is that if you do the right thing with your, actually, let me rephrase this. From the time that you start working, especially if you're in your 20s, from the time that you start working, before you leave this earth, I truly believe that you will have $1 million that pass through your system. I truly believe that everybody has the ability to have $1 million pass through their system. From the time that you start working, right before you leave Earth, I don't know what the statistics are, but on average, I believe that you will have $1 million pass through your system. So, having said that, and I'm talking about all of the money you accumulate, from the money from when you first start working, from the money you get from gifts, from the money you get, just in general, bonuses, income tax, all of that great stuff. I believe that you will have $1 million pass through your system from the time you first start working. Some work even before then. 16, I started working when I was 15. So, from the time that you start working before you leave this earth, I believe that most people will have $1 million pass through their system. So I basically said that we are all millionaires, and I'm sure people didn't like that. I said that we are all millionaires. Now, my bigger question is, having said that we are all millionaires, my question is, so what did you do with your $1 million? What did you do with your money? And I think that's the big question coming from, the last episode, making $92,000 a year. You would think that this gentleman hasn't made, but based off of what he does with his money, turns into a whole nother scenario. And his girlfriend says that he's bad with money, but his response is, I just like to enjoy life. SUVs, sneakers, and all of that stuff. His crew, they gotta have everything name brand. And when he shows up, he wants to, keep up with the Joneses. He wants to match the scene. Credit card bills are about $9,000, and he's spending money on clothes, Ubers, and late nights out, and I can't drive home, so I got to get a lift and all this types of stuff. Flexing for everybody else on the internet, buying meals just to put on Instagram, and meals up to about $300 a pop. And my response was, I hope that was for two people and not just one. So Tyrone was more concerned what people thought about him and how he showed up in the world. Coming fresh off of Transformational Tuesday, Tyrone was more focused on how he was showing up in the physical aspect, what people thought of him. So if you want to find out how we helped out Mr. Tyrone, you can go ahead and watch that replay. That is available on YouTube. You can also listen to the audio version, which is available where you listen to most podcasts. For example, we have iHeartRadio, we have Deezer, we have Amazon, we have, let me see, Pocket Cast, we have Audacity, we have Spotify. Where most major podcast platforms are, you can listen to 401 Podcast, Reading Between the Wines. And if it is not available on your platform, your favorite platform, just reach out, DM, send an email, send a text message, let me know what your favorite platform is, and we will try our best to make that happen. So, yeah, I said tonight was a heavy episode. We got some work to do. Also, I'm in the midst of an interesting thunderstorm, so that's going to create a nice soundtrack to this podcast. So, if you hear some thunder, you know exactly what that is. Song of the day, Let It Go by Keisha Cole, released in 2007 off of her album Just Like You. Now, I want everyone to remember that, again, I started this podcast 2020, and I was coming from a hurt place. I was coming from just, I'm just going to say, an interesting place. And through this podcast, through this platform, my life has changed. I learned how to get over my fears by speaking about some of the things that were keeping me down, keeping me locked up, chained up, shackled in bondage. And through speaking, I was able to heal. So, with this message here, I have to look back at myself, reminiscing back to August 2020 when I was all over the place. Reading Between the Wines birthed because I was all over the place. Carrying on, being reckless, speaking some crazy things out of my mouth. I was doing a lot of drinking during that time, thinking that, popping bottles and going live all the time, that was the best thing to do during the pandemic. But then there came a time where I had to wake up and I had to basically look in the mirror and let some of those things go. Let the people go that I was constantly talking about. Let those same sad records go that I kept playing over and over and over again. And most importantly, letting fake friends go and the poor habits that kept me locked down. And I wouldn't be here right now, here today. There would be no Black Diamond Consultations. There wouldn't be no 401 podcast, Reading Between the Wines, if I didn't kick some of the habits. And every single year, as I continue to grow, I evaluate my life and I say, okay, so what do we need to get rid of? And even though we started off with the 401 podcast, Reading Between the Wines, I often question, should we continue to do this show? I've had this question time and time again. Should I continue to do this? What message am I putting out there? So I'm speaking to myself when I'm reading this. I don't want anybody to get this twisted, confused, make it appear or seem as if I am greater than, because what goes up must come down. You can be here today and gone tomorrow. You could be on top today, and then tomorrow you can be looking up from the bottom. So when I speak this, I'm speaking to self, because everything starts with self. Now, Keisha says, you need to get it. If he don't wanna love you the right way, he ain't gonna. It ain't where he's at, it's where he wanna be. So the question is, where do you wanna be? And again, remember, I'm speaking to self when I say this. See, we all need to get it. I posted something a couple days ago that said, if God blocked it, stop chasing it. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you. If God blocked it, stop chasing it. And sometimes when I come across these things, I post these things, sometimes God puts me to the test. I know who I am. I know what job I have. I know what my purpose is. I know what I'm supposed to do. But I have to remember to practice what I teach. So when I post stuff, like if God blocked it, stop chasing it, the next day, he wants to see if I really stop chasing. So I have to make sure that I have to practice what I teach. And I ask myself, and I find myself in these same scenarios with these people who claim that I got all choked up there, with people who claim that they love you, and sometimes they don't. It could be friends, it could be family, it could be coworkers, whatever, whoever. If I don't like how you're showing up in this world, in my world, I'm going to get up and take responsibility for my life. The old version of me would have to set you aside, give you a piece of my mind, let you know exactly how I feel about how you are showing up in this world. But the only person that we can control is self. So I have to remember and make sure that I practice what I teach. Don't go back and forth with people today. Don't go round and round. The minute that you go back and forth, round and round, debating with people about something that is outside of you, you've already lost the game. And I'm telling you, it gets more realer and it gets more real. Because that same thing that I know and that I just spoke about here today, it'll show up tomorrow. And it's game time. We already know, don't go back and forth, round and round with people, arguing and debating about something that is outside of you that has nothing to do with you, but it has everything to do with the other human being. But what happens is that reality shows up, peer pressure begins to be what it is. And remember, when people show you who they are, believe them the first time. That one right there. When people show you who they are, believe them the first time. The real reason why we have a hard time believing people when they show us, when they show us who they are, we have a hard time believing them is because sometimes we don't even believe ourselves. We doubt ourselves based on the amount of promises that we have consistently broken within. I don't know who I'm speaking to. I'm only speaking from experiences. But how many times have you said that you're going to do something and then you let your own self down? So then when someone shows up and they show us who they are, thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you. Someone shows up and they show us who they are. We're like, nah, it can't be. It's okay. Because we feel that way about ourselves because of how many times we let our own selves down. Let it go. And I have to tell myself, Laren, let it go. If God blocked it, stop chasing it. And I have to say this for real. Because if you end up messing around, chasing something that God blocked and has been removing out of your life and says absolutely not, eventually he's going to say, okay, you know what? If you think that you know better than I do, I'm just going to go ahead and let you go ahead and get what you want. And be careful what you wish for because you just might get it. And then when we get it, half of the time we don't even want it. Song of the day, let it go. Just think about some things in your life that you need to let go. Think about the grace that God has given you and has protected you. And again, I don't know who I'm speaking to. I'm only speaking from experience, but I have been protected so many times over and over and over again. And I'm thankful for it. But there comes a time where we just got to let things go. We got to let it go for real. And we got to say enough is enough because at the end of the day, it's going to be you or it's going to be them or it's going to be you or it's going to be that thing. It's going to be you. It's going to be that group, that place, that environment. So really, what's more important, you or that thing that you keep chasing? You or that person that you keep chasing? When people show you who they are, believe them the first time, not the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, the first time, and get it clear and get it right. Because if they do it the first time, trust and believe they're going to show up like that eventually in the future. It may not be today, it may not be tomorrow, but they're going to show up and they're going to remind you and slap you right in the face of who they really were in the beginning, but you weren't listening. Let it go. Keisha Cole, 2007, off of her album Just Like You. Wow. We ain't even get into it yet. And we're deep. We have author Birdman 313 coming in, and we're going to go ahead and sample this epic run Prosecco. But before we begin today's wine sampling, I want to remind everyone that Black Diamond Consultations and Reading Between the Wines encourage responsible drinking at all times. Please be mindful that alcohol affects your spiritual. They don't call it wine and spirits for no reason. It affects your spiritual, it can affect your mental, physical, and financial well being. Financial is a big aspect when it comes to people consuming alcohol. It costs a lot of money. Irresponsible habits can lead to harmful consequences in each of these areas of your life. Enjoy the experience, savor the flavors, and know your limits because the best memories are made when we sip responsibly. So, we are going to go ahead and sample Epic Run Prosecco. And Epic Run Prosecco is from Italy and it's made from the Glera grapes. This is new to me. Glera, Glera. Glera grapes, 100% Glera grapes. The average price of this bottle is $11. The alcohol content is 11%. Most sparkling Prosecco, sparkling wines like that, I've come to learn that they're around 11% alcohol volume. The color is going to be pale yellow straw, a bright pale yellow. The aroma that you get from this is fresh and floral, notes of violet. There's a little bit of kiwi in here, peach, pear. The taste is described as a crisp, well balanced. Again, we have notes of kiwi, peaches, pear. Of course, you have the sparkling, the effervescence sparkling sensation that's going to come across your palate. This is ideal for aperitifs, for casual sipping, light little snacks. Think of shellfish, charcuterie. That word, it's interesting. Chicken, fish. And it's just like something to just celebrate with. You got a special occasion, you have something going on, you want to, toast up to something. Having something sparkle in your glass always, you know, makes it work best. One of the fun facts from the Prosecco is that it shares a light, fruity, approachable, and it's cost effective. It's a great alternative to champagne. So for the champagne drinkers out there, if you, again, like I said, you want to have a special occasion, you want to toast up to something, you want to make it official, typically go with the Prosecco. I've done this plenty of times for parties. This received a 4 out of 5 stars. It's an excellent value sparkling wine, refreshing, versatile, and flavorful. Community reviews says Prosecco enthusiasts often praise this style for its delicious, dry sparkle with the crisp acidity and plenty of fruit, appreciating its balance and quality and affordability. Keyword affordability, pay attention to that. Epic Run Prosecco DOC is a delightful, budget-friendly sparkling wine. Its pale straw hue with violet and kiwi and juicy pear and peach flavors deliver a lively, elegant sip. Bright bubbles and a polished finish makes it a perfect companion for light meals, appetizers, or chat with friends. And here we go. Let's go ahead and sample this Epic Run Prosecco as I go ahead and bring up my special guest author, Birdman313, and I will let you know if this passed the test. Yes, it does. This is great, great value here. Tastes amazing. Got the bubbles going. It does have a little interesting aftertaste, but again, for something celebrating, something very light, this is good to cheers, toast it up, and yeah, I agree with this. I'm okay with the 4 stars. All right, author Birdman 313. What's going on? How you doing?
Hey, how's it going, man?
It's hot. It's hot over here. It's 90 some odd degrees. How
Oh
are you?
man, that's not hot, dude. That's
You right. You right.
yeah, but I understand on the East Coast, when it gets to be 90, I talked to some of my college friends over the weekend, and they all was hollering about, "Oh, it was hot, it was hot." I'm like, "Yeah, but y'all don't have the humidity like we do here in Texas."
Okay, so I think we spoke about this before. So you have see, I thought it was just heat, heat, heat. So you're telling me that it's heat and humidity over there in Texas.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so
Yeah, I say, hold. Can I say so? Burning
yeah.
Sky said, "What's up?" I had to say, "Hello, how you doing?"
What's going on, SOS? How you doing out there? Thank
Yeah,
you.
yes. Okay. Now like it can be 89 degrees on the thermometer,
Uh-huh.
but with the humidity, it can be right at 99 to 100 degrees actually outdoors.
Mm.
And people holler about shade trees. Man, you know what? When it's like that, man, shade trees, they even trying to hide somewhere. you
Now,
know, um, that's just the way it is down here. And like I say, I talk to a lot of people and will say that when I first moved down here, but when I first moved down here, it wasn't like that. It just started over the years, of getting really, really hot and hitting 100 degrees. You know, I know Arizona used to always be like that. Vegas, but Texas always got hot, but not like it has been over the last few years.
mm. Now, I love the heat, so I'd rather deal with heat than cold. So the only thing I don't like is when I have to work in it, especially when you can't dress the way you want to dress. Because right now I'm chilling, I'm good now. But when you
Yeah,
gotta, you know, be in work environments and you gotta dress and be around that BS, that could be a little bit too much with the heat and the humidity is what really does it when you're drenched. But again, Imma take that. Imma take that over freezing, shivering in a wintertime. I'm good with it.
you know what? Since I don't work no more, the only time I sweat like that is when I go outside and I may go to the park, shoot videos. Then it's hot, man. Trust me, I be trying to hurry up, shoot me some videos right quick, and take some pictures to get in the shade.
Yeah, I have gotten out of the shower, got dressed, and said, "Let me go for a walk," and went for a walk and came back and was completely drenched. Like, now what
Ye-
did I do that for?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Well, we all doing good. Everything's good out there in Texas. We got some rain and some crazy thunderstorms out here in Jersey tonight, it was already 90 some odd degrees with humidity. So I'm sure after this rain, it's going to be real interesting tomorrow.
Oh, that's with the humidity. Oh man, come on. You ought to be like I said. You should be here when it's 90 and the humidity is like 101 or 105 or let me see. Last week we went to a restaurant and we came out. It was 115. No, it was 113.
See, that sound right up my alley. I like that. I
Okay.
like
Hey,
that.
hey, man. To each his own. That's all I got to say, man. To each his own.
When I went to Cali a couple years ago and Vegas, a few times, there were times where that temperature hit 120.
Yeah, last year when we went, and that's when and I didn't know this. A friend of mine, we went to college together. We played baseball, and I played a year intramural basketball because I was just tired of playing on the team. And every time we go to Vegas, we hang out with him, go to dinner and all that, and he take us around. And on our way back, him and his wife, he said, "Oh yeah, that's right." He said, "Hey man, you got any videos of the Mirage?" And I was like, "No." He said, "Well, hey man," he said, "I'm gonna let you know now." He said, "When you leaving?" I said, "Oh, we leaving that Friday that was coming up. This was on the wing." He said, "Hey," he said, "Man, go ahead and get you." He said, "If you want to do some videos, you need to go ahead now." He said, "Because they're getting ready to tear the Mirage down." So,
Mm.
so when he dropped us off, excuse me, Diana went on in because she said, "I ain't staying out here." I walked down the street, man, and I went out there and I was shooting videos with my phone because I didn't want to go get my, my camera. I just said, "Hey, man, I use my phone because that's what I do sometimes. Instead of packing my camera, I have my phone." And I shot videos. Man, the camera was scorching hot.
Mm.
And I got what I wanted. And I jet back in the hotel where it was cool. We went to the bar. We got us some margaritas, and I just sit there and cooled out. I'm like, man, I'm not going back outside until the next day. And it was matter of fact, 'cause I wrote the poem 106 degrees, and
Oh,
it was
okay.
106, and that's where that poem came from. That poem and that video came from was that particular day when I went down there to the Mirage and shot the videos.
Wow. I like that. I like that story. See that? See how you get a poem out of that? Wow.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to tonight's show. It's wind down Wednesday. I like to wind down. We get some good laughs here, great conversation.
oh, yeah,
This episode is real heavy. That's the key word, is heavy. But it's for people who like to wind down and can enjoy this and handle this responsibly, because let me tell you, I've been through some and here it is only Wednesday and I've been through some. I don't want to cuss, but I know y'all understand where I'm coming from.
yeah.
So I have this show for people who want to just wind down and just be a little different for just a little bit. All right. So, but I just want to say I appreciate your conversation. I appreciate your insight to this show here. You definitely have brought a lot to this show and has been an integral part of this. So thank you so much for that, Birdman.
Oh, yeah, you're welcome.
All right, so let's get into the money hacks. We've been on this 275 ways to decrease spending, increase savings, and make your money work for you. So you got a number for me, anywhere between 1 to 275?
Yeah, I'm gonna choose one.
One. All right, let's go with the first one.
Yeah.
Number one. Let's see what we got here. All right. Hack number one: avoid the spending trap. How many times have you anxious? Excuse me. Let me back that up. How many times have you anxiously waited for the next payday, confused about where all your money went? Odds are you're not fully aware of your spending and what triggers it. And those small purchases add up quickly to eat away at your budget. Take a look at your debit and credit transactions for the past month or so to identify your spending patterns. Do you pick up breakfast sandwiches on your way to work? Are your bar tabs all from happy hours that went later than planned? Can you never get out of the big box stores for less than $50? Do you pick up the bill for lunch with friends? Once you know when and where and why you're spending more than you're comfortable on a regular basis, you can strategize how to pull back. Think about breakfast the night before to avoid the morning rush. Send your friend a Venmo request for their share of the bill while you're still sitting at the diner. Set an alarm on your phone so you don't order just one more drink after happy hour has ended. Head to the store after work when you have less time to browse. It's hard to avoid spending traps when you have no idea where they are. Once you get an intimate Once you get intimate with your spending habits, you can restructure your time and activities, not necessarily to cut out those expenses completely, but to pull them back to a more comfortable place. What do you think about that?
That sounds so real. That's how I used to be. I had traps and didn't even know it.
I
And
yeah, go ahead.
no, I was just saying now I kind of I sit back and I check my credit card and my bank account if I don't do it every day, I will do it at least 5 times out of the week.
Oh, that's awesome.
And that's because Diana taught me something. She said, if you don't watch it, somebody else will watch it for you. And I thought about that and I'm like, what she mean? And then I thought about, oh, because sometimes you get charges on your credit cards that you didn't make.
Mm,
And if you're not aware of it, if you just go ahead and just pay it and don't look at them, then you gonna be paying for somebody else's bill. And I know this has happened to me and one of my sons where we got hit up on our credit cards or our debit cards without even paying attention, just paying the bill, just paying the bill,
mm,
and then all of a sudden you look and you done paid like 6 months of something what somebody else has been ordering.
that's craziness.
Yes.
I heard about that happening. Like you swipe your card because you did legitimately go to dinner and the bill might have been $50, but I didn't know that people behind the scenes will add their own tips and stuff and change it around and scratch the numbers out and make it appear or draw a line here to turn your one into a two. And next thing you know, whatever tip you gave them, they done doubled it. So you have to be very careful when you go to certain restaurants now that they ain't up in the tip amount.
Yeah, exactly. Just a quick thing. This happened. This is what made me start paying attention. One of my sons was staying with us, and he paid the light bill. Okay, and so like the light company sent us a red notice, and he said I paid it. And long story short, after they did their search, they found out he did pay it, but they never would tell us who it was, but whoever the person was taking that money, took his money, what he has spent, and was spending on a female. They found all of that out because one of the ladies said, I'm gonna tell you something, please don't say nothing about it. Said, but the guy who actually took your money, he was trying to impress this female, so he took the money, didn't post it to your bill, and he took the money
Oh,
so he could take somebody else out. And I've heard of that happening a whole lot.
oh, an inside job. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
craziness.
And even companies, man, you got to be careful about that because they will, like I said, they got employees that will do that also. Take your money, and then next thing you know, your lights off, and you wonder why is my lights off? I paid my bill.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, that's craziness. SOS, I hear you. So accurate about the frivolous spending. I like how this thing listed that you don't have to stop what you're doing. Like nobody said you can't live your life, but just back up a little bit. Like, do you really need to have breakfast sandwiches every single morning?
Yeah.
Absolutely not. Um, and you got to go to the happy hour, and you getting real happy. You don't know when it's time to stop. You know those drinks are going to change after a certain time.
Or you spending money, just spending money on other people for buying. Oh, I got this round when you can't pay for that. Really, you shouldn't, but you're gonna do it anyway because you want to be the life of the party, as they call it.
And that's what Tyrone's problem was the night before, wanting to flex for his friends and doing stuff. And then now you get behind closed doors and you falling apart. But you know what? He ain't the only one. A lot of people out there do that. They flex
Yeah,
in the street and then get behind closed doors and fall apart.
yeah,
Wow. That was money hack number one. Oh my
yeah.
goodness. All right. So yeah, let's get into tonight's assignment. I warned you all that this was a heavy topic. Took me for a loop. In a minute, I thought that I was the one writing in this letter, and that's a problem because it lets me know that hell, I've been there before. And I said there were times where I said, "Do we really need to continue this show?" So let's get into it. We're gonna help Miss Janelle out from Charlotte, North Carolina. Shout out to everybody from the Carolinas. Dear Laren, I started doing wind down Wednesdays at home during the pandemic. Just me, a glass of rosé, and a face mask, and it was my little ritual to relax and reset. But somewhere along the way, it turned into a half of a bottle, then a whole bottle, and $300 a month wine subscription I can't afford. Now, my midweek self care has me sluggish at work on Thursdays, skipping my morning workouts, and swiping my credit card for DoorDash because I'm too tired to cook. I'm in $5,200 of credit card debt. My savings is basically dust, and I've gained 18 pounds since January. My mental health is shaky. I feel anxious in the morning, but I still pour the glass on Wednesdays like clockwork. Spiritually, I feel disconnected too. I tell myself I deserve the one because I work hard, but deep down, I know that I'm just avoiding the fact that my life feels out of control. My faith says my body is a temple, but lately it feels more like an abandoned Airbnb. How do I break this pattern without losing my midweek ritual? And is it possible to replace it with something that feeds my soul, clears my head, helps my body, and doesn't wreck my bank account? We're going to take that to the top. I started doing wind down Wednesdays at home during the pandemic, just me, a glass of rosé, and a face mask. It was my little ritual to relax and reset, but somewhere along the way it turned into half a bottle, then a whole bottle, and a $300 a month wine subscription I can't afford. Now, my midweek self care has me sluggish at work on Thursdays, skipping my morning workouts and swiping my credit card for DoorDash because I'm too tired to cook. I'm in $5,200 of credit card debt. My saving is basically dust, and I've gained 18 pounds since January. My mental health is shaky. I feel anxious in the morning, but I still pour the glass on Wednesdays like clockwork. Spiritually, I feel disconnected too. I tell myself I deserve the one because I work hard, but deep down, I know I'm just avoiding the fact that my life feels out of control. My faith says my body is a temple, but lately I feel more like an abandoned Airbnb. How do I break this pattern without losing my midweek ritual? And is it possible to replace it with something that feeds my soul, clears my head, helps my body, and doesn't wreck my bank account? Janelle. All right, Birdman, what do you have for us?
Man, hey man, this one here had me. Hey, I was looking at it just before I came on here because it had me totally. Because I've told you I've been I used to work as an alcohol counselor, and the thing that got me was she said is this happens on Wednesdays, and then she can't get up on Thursdays. But I'm asked, how is she functioning the other 5 days?
Hmm.
That's my main question: is how you function the other 5 days if you only drink on Wednesdays? And then
Hmm.
this would have I almost had to go back and see if I could find some notes on Alcohol Anonymous to figure this out. And I'm like, I'm I've heard people starting off, and then it starts off and then it leads to other days, and next thing you know they're drinking every day. But just she's saying Wednesdays. And then I thought about it. I said, well, maybe she said, what can she do to replace that? Huh. All I can say is, and all I can say is, first of all, you need to pray on more on Wednesdays. You know that you can stop doing these. If that's what's bothering you on when something is bothering her, put it like that. Something is bothering her, and she feels like Wednesdays is the only days that she can do all this drinking. So it's something that's deep inside that's bothering her. She should check out maybe AA. Just check it out. That don't mean you have to go all the time, but check out a meeting or two. Um, like I said, and pray a little bit more for Wednesdays for it to change on a Wednesday, and possibly just stop buying wine altogether. And that there can really, and I know it's hard. Don't get me wrong, because I dealt with. I mean, I seen people go through withdrawals, and I mean, I remember I used to have to take, you know, the clients when I worked at a treatment center. I used to have to take them to a withdrawal center, man, and hey, it's something that you really don't want to see, man. And you know, it's just kind of hard to really, pinpoint really what it was. Now all I could think about was this, maybe saying a prayer, or but go to like I said, an AA meeting, and just find something else to do on Wednesdays.
Hmm.
That's all I can say is, I know the pandemic caused a lot of people to change their lives. Because, hey man, during that time, I ain't gonna lie to you, man. I was drinking, man. I would go and buy go buy a gallon of gin, man, and sit back. But I was constantly writing and doing videos, even though we couldn't go nowhere. It was just taking pictures and videos of the yard, or catching a bird that's in the yard, a different type of bird. And then one day, man, I just said, hey, hold up. I sit back and I had to take a look at it. And I'm like, this is not what I want. This is not what I want to do. I need to stop. And I just stopped. Everybody can't do that. Everybody just can't
Yeah.
stop. And that was something that I did because during the pandemic, there was a lot of uncertainty. I mean, even now it's a lot of uncertainty, but during the pandemic, it was more because a lot of people was like, is this the end? So a
Hmm.
lot of people was just, drinking and smoking because they had nothing else to do. They couldn't go nowhere. And I understand that. But I realized you had to make things, you have to make things happen. And what got me through and got me from drinking, because I was on a Zoom poetry reading every night, Monday through Sunday. I was
Mm.
doing 2 and 3 readings, and that kind of helped me to forget about the craving for the alcohol.
That's a good point. That is a good point. You actually replaced it because you found something to do. It wasn't out of boredom. It wasn't because you didn't have anything to do. What is that thing that they say? Something about idle hands is the devil's workshop.
Yeah, I don't.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
and and then there was a lot of people that even tell me, we talk about, because I retired, and they said, whoa, well, I don't know what I'm gonna do once I retire. I said, man, find something to do. Go fishing. You may not like to fish, but just go fish. Just go try it. Or go walking through the park sometime. I said, and then a lot of people asked me, or they thought I took a video school. No, I said, I have 2 different programs on each. I have 2 different video programs, and what I did, I experimented until I learned how to really do videos good.
Right.
And I tell people, I said, man, I just found stuff to do. I mean, I started back playing the bass guitar, I mean, and I just was writing, listening to music, and that's one thing I tell people. I hear people say, and I know in AA they said, well, a certain type of music that will make you do this, and that. Man, I'm like, yeah, okay. I said, but I guess it's just something different about me, because I can sit back and, like I said, I listen to Eminem all day. I listen to 50 Cent all day. It won't make me go out there and do nothing stupid.
Hmm.
I tell people, I listen to all type of music. I listen to country music. I ain't gonna sit up and go to crying. Well, I ain't gonna say that. But it's some songs that bring back, some hurt. But
I know what you mean. Yeah.
yeah, and I hear people all the time say, well, I can't listen to that type of music no more. And I'm like, okay, cool. Glad you let me know. I won't play it.
I I listen to so I'm very careful because the subconscious mind does do it's very powerful. So I get why people say that. So what they're saying is basically if you listen to violent music of shooting, this, that, guns, this, your subconscious mind will pick that up if you continuously repeat it and put it into a cycle of that, and then that will show up in your reality. You may not do it, but you might experience it, you might see it, somebody close to you might. So I kind of get that. So when I listen to music, especially my girl, she is known for some sad songs. But I just be like, yo, Mary, that's crazy that you feel that way because I ain't doing it today. And I turn it off.
Uh,
I turn it off. Like, I ain't going down. We ain't doing that type of stuff. So, stuff like that. When I do listen to some of these artists, though, especially these sad songs, and I know we might be taking this to a turn, but we're going to bring it back. But these sad songs, when they be like, "Oh, it's killing me," I'd be like, "Absolutely not. It ain't killing nothing over here. I feel sorry for you that you allowing somebody else to do that to you," and I turn it off.
yeah. Well, that's and you know what, and I understand too. Like I said, for that lady to say, and I'm gonna tell you something else. She wants to know, and I'm gonna tell you, she wants to know why she gained so much weight and why she drinks so much. I always tell people if you drink one or two glasses, get up and walk around. Because what's gonna happen is long you sit there, you're gonna be able to drink more and more. And then when you get up, that's when it's gonna hit you.
Well, yeah, the-
that's when that's when it's gonna hit you. And I'm like, okay, she gaining weight. And I mean, she don't want to work out. I mean, she said the next day she don't want to go to work, or she too tired of work, and she don't even go and work out. Come on, you replacing alcohol with working out, so you're not serious about your workout. You just going there so you can tell your friends, "Oh, I'm going to work out." Because if you're serious about your workout, there's only thing that can stop you from not doing your workout is an injury.
Mm,
That's how I feel. Like I said, these are my feelings, and it's because I did work in that field, and I seen how, and I heard how people said they reacted to alcohol. So I can say these things. I'm not saying it to nobody in particular. Just want to make that clear. I'm just saying, that these are the things that goes on, and then like I said, I was like, man, she do this. It's just one day.
yeah, something's not right. This is basically what we are being told, so we have no idea.
Yeah, and
So
I and I, to the, I was saying, you know, so if this is one day, how are you functioning the other, I said 5 maybe 6 days? Well, we know, okay, yeah, we know the next day she's not all there. So the next 5 days, how you functioning? If you ain't drinking nothing, then what's the issue? How come it just has to be on Wednesdays?
well, I hope that our wind down Wednesday was not the reason of it. I told you when I first saw this, I said, "Oh, this is something else." Because when I first started this podcast, it was for the wrong reasons.
Uh-huh.
Even with me speaking it, I kind of like stumbled over my words, but it was for the wrong reason, I guess. With this, because the wine behind it was, let's party, let's drink, let's turn up, let's pop bottles, and the message got twisted to the point where I actually didn't even want to drink anymore. When I went on my hiatus, I was like, I don't even want this anymore. Like
Yeah.
one
Well,
time, go
that's
ahead.
like it's funny because when I talk about one, it's podcast on Spotify, and you done heard me mention the name Coffee, Wine, and Words. And when I first seen Yearn, and I'm like, man, I wonder do they know each other? Then I come to find out, no, oh, you're in New Jersey and she's in Vegas, but that don't mean y'all don't know each other. you know, that don't mean. And then I've had people when I said I did a reading on your podcast, or they Coffee Wine and Words just accepted another one of my videos, and they'll be like, wait a minute, is they the same? And I'm like, no, they're not. I said one is based out of New Jersey, the other one based out of Vegas. I said I have never asked them, did they know each other? I said it's really not none of my business, but I said that's just the name that both of them has. Do you
Yeah.
know her?
No, I might, because I do know some people in Vegas, but I would have to see. But no, as of right now, no. Mm-mm.
Yeah, I'm just messing with you, man.
Yeah. So I agree with Miss SOS. There definitely is some underlying issue here that is not being spoke about. And I definitely think that that is a great point that you brought up, that Wednesday only, and then what happens throughout the rest of the week. So you could only be telling us Wednesday, but you could be doing something different throughout the week just to make it seem like it's okay to wind down on Wednesday, which it is if you could do it responsibly. I put the little disclaimer out there because, again, I have a responsibility to make sure that I'm giving a direct message. And if we're speaking about money, we're speaking about, being spiritually aligned, physically aligned. There's no good reason that anybody it would be okay to just drink excessively and spend your money and splurge your money. And like I said, they don't call it wine and spirits for no reason, because if you handle this thing the wrong way, you are going to activate some spirits. And what they say, what's the saying? A drunk mind speaks the truth, or something like
Drunk
that.
person tells the truth. Yeah,
So
yeah, drunk person speaks the truth.
So that could be all of the things that you've been harboring and holding in that will start to come out, and you will definitely become a different person. That's that spirit taking over. So you're messing with the spiritual realm when you start to drink excessively. I'm not talking about a little social drink here and there. I'm talking about when you go in. We're talking about drinking whole bottles here. That's a lot. Then you have a $300 a month wine subscription that you can't afford. So the question that I have to ask is, so what are we doing it for? If
Yeah,
we know we can't afford something, we can't do something, we can't hang out with certain people, we can't go to happy hour, we can't go to these lunch meetings with friends, we can't do these things. The question is, why do we continuously put ourselves into situations that do not serve our purpose and God's plan? Why?
that's hey man, you know what? That's part of life. That's how I look at it. It's part of life, and that's why I have this thing, and I don't knock nobody because, like I said, I used to drink, and I didn't drink where I got in trouble. Make that perfectly clear. I never went to jail for drinking or nothing like that. Um, you know, I was thinking, like I said, she has something that's bothering her, and I want to say is, did a boyfriend break up with her on a Wednesday, so that's why she's drinking heavily on a Wednesday to forget about the breakup.
That could be.
Or did something happen? Did something tragic happen on a Wednesday? So she took up the drinking. But see, when I first read it, and she said she has her her bottle and her mask on, and I'm like, her mask? What the? If she at home, what she got a mask on for? you know.
Oh,
And
that is. I know what
uh,
you're talking about. You're
yeah,
talking about the mask that. Oh yeah, you're right. Face mask. Mm.
and I'm
Okay.
like, why she have a if she at home by herself? Yeah, she got a mask on for her,
I'm not
you know.
messing with you.
But you know, and then I said, okay, maybe she used the face mask to say that it's something she's masking, you know, because some people use throw in a word to throw people off to think certain things. And like I said, maybe it's something that happened on a Wednesday, you know, that
I think that she's using Wine Down Wednesday as an excuse to drink. Maybe
yeah,
something didn't happen on Wednesday, but we're using it as an excuse to say that it's okay to drink.
yeah,
Y-
that's possible too.
Maybe. I don't know. The face mask, I didn't even catch on to that. You know what I thought?
What?
I thought the face mask that people put on their face when they're cleansing their face. That's what I thought.
Oh, and it could be that too. I mean, I'm just saying, you know, because she said this was during COVID. So I just assumed that she was talking about a face mask. And I'm like, what the hell she doing with a face mask on?
Well, people had it driving in the car and no one was in there but them.
Yes.
I said,
Yeah.
"What in the world is that? You are the only person in that car, but you got a face mask on driving around. Who's in there coughing and doing whatever but you?"
But you know, people were saying that it was in the air, and a lot of people didn't know how people was catching it too either. You
Let
know, I mean, that was something that is it airborne? Nobody, and still to this day, I don't think they really know
let me tell
how.
you this. I'm so glad that I turned that news station off because I would have lost my mind. I had my face mask on, I had gloves, I was wiping down every single thing that I got from the grocery store. I, I'm not even getting into it. I'm glad that
Hey,
I turned that mess off. How about that?
you said that, but we would go to the grocery store and set the bags either on the stove or on the floor. Yeah,
I-
you know, and even you know what? It's because we did it for so long. When I come in, I bring food from a restaurant. I will sit it on the stove. And when we bring groceries in, we sit the bags on the floor and then we take everything out. You know.
listen, I had water, soap, hand sanitizer in my trunk. After I
Uh,
got out of the store, I did this. Listen, we're not even getting into
yeah. But you know, you know, I know there's a lot of people that that you know, and like I said, I read what she said, but she would be a hard one to really counsel. I mean, like I said, I could tell her, man, maybe you need to pray about not doing that on a Wednesday, and maybe you need to go to an AA to check it out and see how you like it. But you need this if you are drinking over excessively on that particular day, it's gonna catch up with you in a way you're gonna regret. You
Yeah.
know, and I would tell her to find you something to do. Find you, you know, if you like reading, find your book. You like music, listen to some music. You like going to the library, go to the library. Join a woman's club. You know, and just do something to keep your mind off of just sitting around drinking till you the next morning when you get up, you feel I can't use the word. You feel bad. Put it like that. I'm gonna use that. You feel bad. You don't even want to work out.
Yeah, that part, the next day, the hangover, feeling a certain way, that is enough to make me not want to do it. There were times where I said I would never drink again, and then when I would drink again, I was a little more cautious. Some people will get a hangover, some people will feel a certain way. They think that it's funny, and then they go out and they do the same stupid thing again. Like,
Yeah,
no, that's a warning that that wasn't the right thing to do.
Hey man, I did that. I did. I would go to work the next morning. I'll be like, oh man, when is this day gonna get over with? I said, man, as soon as I get home, I'm just going to go lay down. Man, I get off, because I was riding the bus. I get off the bus stop was right in front of a store. right in front of the store, get me something, gone to the house, and you know what? I was wide awake.
I heard it. I heard of that happening. I heard of that happening,
I
but
but I had to then I had to start getting control. And like I said, I started finding other things to do. I just start finding other things to do to take up my time to distract the drinking.
yeah, yeah,
And you know what the funny part was? I was doing counseling then.
yeah.
you know,
I
I was doing counseling then, and I thought about it. I said, man, how can I tell somebody else, counsel them on what they need to do when I can't even control my own drinking?
I'll tell you. That is an important question, and I go through that every single day, and that's why I say I have to make sure that I practice what I teach, because when it comes to the financial aspect of it, it is a delicate balance, and I make sure that every single day when I'm spending God's money, because it ain't my money, that I'm doing it the way that would please him. Because I'm like, there ain't no good way that I'm going to black out and do something crazy and then get on here and talk about money or counsel somebody, coach somebody about money, and then I'm doing something reckless. A lot of financial coaches, they struggle with that.
Yeah, yes.
And
I was reading something that SOS posted on here. She said, I really must be unusual. I had no difficulties during COVID. I was so happy doing nothing or whatever I wanted. I felt that same way. So she's not unusual. And I always feel like some people felt that way and others didn't. And I feel like the ones who didn't feel that way was the ones that was going clubbing all the time. They had to be in the club on the weekends. For those who the clubbing days have passed, it really didn't buy more. You had to be around people constantly. And see, I'm looking at maybe that has something to do with it. That she, was always had to be around people or had people coming to her doorstep. Now it's shut down and she don't know what to do with herself. She had nothing, no ambition to really learn something else.
that is possible. And I will say that people who enjoyed being by themselves during 2020, um,
Yeah,
like SOS, people who did that, they are the chosen ones.
yeah,
The people who went left instead of going right, it wasn't for them. There's a select few people who woke up during the pandemic.
yeah.
Wow.
And then again, if you don't care about you don't care about yourself, who gonna care about you? You gotta think about yourself, your health, your well being, and it's like so. She just said, "I'm just putting it out there," and I'm looking for a clean, safe place to live. That right there, that has a lot to do with it. And if this person sounded like she really didn't care where she lived at, it kind of like she didn't really care about herself personally.
I know, even though it was like sort of sabotage, it was sort of covered up as a self-care situation, but her self-care routine ended up becoming something completely different. It wasn't care at all. Basically it's self-destruction, because now you can't function right at work. Now I've done some things where I'm like, the night before, carrying on, staying up late, partying, and then you go to work and then you feel a certain way, no good, and now you can't function properly at work. Now you're skipping your morning workouts because you need to sleep in or you can't get up, swiping your credit card for DoorDash. Not only swiping your credit card for DoorDash is going to be a problem, because if you weren't in that state of drinking the night before, you would have made home prep meals. So now it's costing you in your bank account, and then it's costing you on your waistline because you complain that you gained some weight. Well, if a little bit more home cooked meals is going to help straighten that up a little bit. Not that it's going to be all, what is it, the end all cure all, but it definitely would help.
Yeah,
Um,
go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Credit card debt, savings is out of control, but yet we spoke about how we have a wine subscription that we can't afford. Well, get rid of it.
I'm trying to figure out how, man, the amount that she spent on wine. It's just like, what kind of wine you buying?
Well, okay, so I was in the wine shop today, and the first bottle that my eyes came across was like $60.
Yeah,
So I said, okay, there we go. Like, I got it. We ain't getting this bottle of wine. Absolutely not. But yeah, so that's why I say, and that's just wine. Think about the other stuff that's out there, like
yeah,
whiskey, this, that, all of them, vodka. They all got their high class. You got your cheap stuff, and then you got your high class stuff that, you know.
yeah. So, so okay, if you say that was $60, she was spending 300. How many bottles she had to drink? I mean, how many bottles? Excuse me, not how many bottles did she have to buy to get up to $300? You look at that, and
So,
that's a lot, man.
so a wine subscription probably is gonna give her a case of wine a month. So that's 12 bottles a month.
Okay,
That's a lot of wine for one person to drink.
yes, it is.
I had a wine rack that had about maybe 24 whole 24 bottles, and it just got empty, and I told you, like, I stopped with the wine after a while, to a point
Uh
where I
huh.
almost went 6 months without drinking wine. And then I kept looking at this rack, and I said, you know what, I'm getting rid of it, because I don't have a need to fill up 24 bottles of wine and hold it and just look at it and chair. If I want to get me a bottle of wine, I run, I get it, I enjoy it, and it's over. There's no need for me to rack up 24 bottles of wine, because you're going to pay for it whether you're drinking it or not. There's no
Right.
reason for it. So I just got rid of it.
And it's like she has no self control, really over. She has no self control over drinking. She has no self control over how she's spending her money, and
Yeah,
you know,
so
evidently she had no self control on how she's eating.
yes. So
And if she's by herself, it shouldn't. No, man. That's why I'm like, well, dang, man, what kind of wine is she buying? I don't drink wine. I used to. Don't get me wrong. When I travel, I may buy me a glass of wine. I say I may, and a one glass is good enough for me. You know, now it is. You know, since I don't drink, and I've never been a big wine drinker anyway. You know, because I had a cousin that he drank wine so much till he died. And so
sorry to hear
like
that.
yeah, so and then I knew a couple more other people who they was like, oh man, he a wino, he a wino, and I used to see how they looked, and I'm like, oh no, man, I mean, like,
That
I'm not gonna say I'm the best looking guy around, but you know what? I damn sure ain't gonna be the worst looking guy. That's for sure.
I know that's right. My mentor always told me that she preferred to do other things because alcohol takes away your looks. She would always
Yes,
say that it takes away your looks.
and it takes away. It does a lot. A lot of people don't realize, and I did learn that. And then, like I said, I when I go visit my sons, I may have a drink or two with them, you know, and that's it. And it's funny because they don't. They just say, "Oh, Dad, you want?" I'm like, and I tell me the youngest one, he wants to be a bartender, and so like, oh, hear me. He'll go fix me a drink, and he said, "Dad, how is that?" I'm like, "Yeah, okay, then," because he fixed it because I do take blood pressure medication, so that has a lot to do with me not drinking a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, when I'm with them, I like I said, I'll have a couple of drinks with them. I'm there for 3 days, have a couple of drinks. When we go out in Vegas, it's one of the at the hotel, one of the bars we stop at. We'll have a margarita. Go to L.A. We'll go to Margaritaville at Universal Studios.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even when we stay at Burbank at the hotel there, I would may have a drink, but it's not no everyday thing, and it's just one drink at a particular time, and then I'm done with it. And I tell people I didn't, some people, I know they have to force themselves, and I'm like, once you get past that craving, you got it. I said, there was a time, like I said, man, I couldn't pass a corner store. I'm driving. I see I pick out a corner store before the corner store would appear.
I remember you telling me that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's deep. Mm.
And I would run in there and get me, they 2 for $99 or 2 for $1. I grab me 2 of them, jump in the vehicle, pull out, man, boop, pop it open, knowing I shouldn't be drinking and driving.
Yeah.
you know.
Mm.
Then what really got me when I walk in the store, this lady walks up to me. She said, "Damn, cutie, you sure look good." Policeman standing right there, and I looked at her and she said, "Oh, you buying something to drink? You alone?" And I didn't say nothing. I didn't even speak to her. I turned away from her. I'm like, "Oh, I don't know this lady here." I said, "Hey, dude," I told her, "Hey, man, hurry up, bring this up so I can get up out of here." He started he started watching me. you know.
Mm.
And so I grabbed my bag, got in the car, cranked it up. She came outside. He got up to look. I pulled off. I'm like, oh no, you know, I, I ain't the one. And then that's when I
Oh
realized
man.
I started thinking. I'm like, do I have a problem? And I mean, like I said, because when you work as a counselor, man, a lot of people don't know, man. A lot of them counselors, man,
Yeah, because they taking on everybody else's stuff.
exactly. And then if they got a crazy spouse at the house, they got to deal with. They don't do. They got to drink. They drinking. They smoking. Just trying to. Oh man, let me get out of this some kind of way.
Mm. Wow.
But
Well,
but like I said, this lady here, it just sounds like she replaced the
yeah,
wine with something that's
something.
bothering her.
Yeah, I totally agree. And we have hit all of the realms. We hit the spiritual realm um clearly with
Yeah,
overdoing it. She says spiritually I feel disconnected. She knows that her body is a temple, but now it feels like an abandoned Airbnb. So spiritually you're disconnected. Mental, you're going through this trip. You know that it's not right, but yet you keep doing it. Like when you know that
right,
something's wrong and that you keep doing it, you want different results, but you keep doing the same thing. That's the definition of insanity. Physical, you let the physical part go. You gain extra weight. You're not going to do your workouts the way you're supposed to. You're showing up. And I don't want to use the word disrespectfully, but it is disrespectful to yourself being in the credit card debt that you are and still doing what you're doing. Signing up for things that no longer serve you, like a $300 a month wine subscription, and you know you can't afford it, but keep doing it. That's bad from the physical aspect. You're just it's no good. Um and then a financial aspect. I mean, we can add it up here. We're talking about over $6,000 and counting, because when you keep these subscriptions going, these automatic subscriptions that no longer serve you, a lot of people sign up for these different apps on their phones and this and that, these clubs and these things, and then they don't go back and check, and they don't review their finances to say, hey, I no longer use, I'm not going to say a name, but
Yeah.
I don't use this app to watch this show anymore because it's no longer on. So why do I have this app continuously charging me every month when I only look at this particular show that comes on this particular streaming platform 2 months out of the year? So after that season is over, cancel it. A lot of people will keep it. Oh, that's because I watched this show. Well, is it on now? No, but then why do you have it?
Yeah.
So the same thing with this wine subscription. You can't afford it, don't do it.
And that's basically what it boils down to. I mean,
Yeah, basically, it's you're right.
because what's going to end up happening is she gonna have to hit bottom, and I hate to say that. And the bottom is gonna be when they call her into the office and say, "Look here, you're not performing your job like you used to on the level. We have a lot of complaints about this, and that." And then they probably, and I know some companies will. They say, "Is there something going on you like to talk about?" And
Yeah, they try to be your friend first.
yeah, that's the wrong thing. That is the wrong thing. And I tell people, man, don't bring your issues on your job. But that's what's gonna end up happening. They probably say, hey, we're gonna give you a little bit more time, and if you don't clean up, then we're gonna have to let you go. And then
I,
some companies, they were like, hey, you gone. They won't even give you a chance to even try to clean up.
I heard a most inspirational story one day. I was at a conference, and one of the regional managers told me about somebody who was strung out on drugs. And the way that he laid that story out was amazing. And he said, and you know what this person is doing today? And because they helped, the company actually helped this person get on their feet, he ended up becoming like this regional vice president of the company because he turned his life around. So yes, the companies do try to be your friend, but you got to be careful because that friendship, like there's a thin line between love and hate, depending on who you're dealing with. They can either use that for you or they could use it against you. That corporate world could be a little tricky, so be very careful with that.
Exactly. And it sounds like old girl got a decent job, and she's really just flushing it down the toilet stool, to say it kindly.
Yeah,
You know,
she has a lot going on, and like I say, everything starts with self. So that self evaluation, we're calling this self care. That's her little midweek self care ritual routine. She needs to do a big overhaul. You said find something else to do, replace it, find something to do other than, what she's currently doing. And I agree.
and you know what? She don't need to be saying, "Well, I'm gonna cut back." When now, I always tell people who drink a lot, try to cut back, because you don't want to go. Just some people can do it, and some people can't. Like I said, because I worked at a drug treatment center, I seen when a person gone to cold turkey. And man, it's something that you be like, oh man, I don't want to go through that.
Well, then that's when, yeah, they might need to seek some professional help then if that's the case. Because,
Yeah,
wow,
but
I
she
don't.
what she just need to do is just need to just say, okay, I'm done with this, and pray about it. I'm done with it, and pray about it, and actually don't pick up another bad habit, because that's what what that I always I've seen that where they got rid of one habit and picked up another habit. Because like I stopped drinking beer, and then I started drinking alcohol,
Hmm.
and then I got to thinking, I'm gonna stop drinking altogether. And I know some people they was like, you don't drink no more? Nah, man, I don't drink no more. What didn't happen? Nah, man, I just got tired of it, man. I said, like I said, she has taught me so much. She said, think about this. How much more money would you have in your bank account
I
if
know
you,
that's right.
you know? And I got to thinking about. I didn't tell her that. I'm like, I ain't gonna tell you. I got to thinking about it though, and then she said, well, do this little experiment. Go 6 months without buying something to drink, and see how much you done save.
I'm
And
telling you.
I did that, and I was like, well, it wasn't a lot, but you know what? It was in my pocket.
Yeah, and over a period of time, it will be.
Yeah,
That's the thing. Over a period of time, think about it. Like the financial aspect of it is deep, and I don't think a lot of people know because they just so caught up. They so caught up in what the feeling's gonna be. It's like being a zombie. You just willy nilly handing over that money left and right day after day. Because some people hit it up every single day because they run out. Man, that's a big old issue. And let's just say that these certain stores, liquor stores, are only in the urban areas like that on every corner, every block.
yeah. And you know what? The bad thing? Hey, when you go in the store and they know you,
Yeah,
so they
yeah, they
know,
go.
so they know you, you got a problem.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wow.
Because I know it was one. I was one. I try. Well, I try to be. I'm gonna say I try to be slick about it. Go to a different one that's in the area. And I went in this one, and the guy said, "Hey man, how you doing?" I'm like, "I'm all right." He said, "How's your son doing?" And I'm like, "Oh hell no, I gotta stop coming. I gotta start coming here, Cause my son Michael, the one that he's on here now, he be listening. He
What's
went in
going
there.
on?
He went in there with me. We went to get something to drink because he came out here to spend the night one time, and we went and got something to drink, and I said, "I said, yeah, this is my son." He said, "Hey, how's it going?" I said, all right. Man, next time I went in there, he said, "Yeah, how your son doing?" I'm like, "Oh hell no, I gotta quit coming in here, man." My son. And then it was another one, and because I'm tall, Diana short, they be like, "Oh, she's not with you today, huh? Oh, she's sitting out there in the car." And I'm like, okay, I got to quit coming to this one too. I said it's something that keeps telling me that I need to stop.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And then, like I said, Diana told me about that money situation. And not too long ago, I told her, I said, "You know what? You remember when you told me that?" She said, "Yeah, I remember." I'm like, "Yeah, And I said, "That is, I've seen how much money I've saved since I stopped drinking." And I'm not saying it's gonna work for everybody, because some people pick up other habits. Like I don't drink no cokes. Some people switch that and start drinking cokes all the time. And I try not to pick up another habit, to replace it. And
Right,
that's
right.
another thing. A lot of people don't realize how they pick up another habit.
Mm.
Because like my dad, he used to smoke cigarettes. He stopped smoking cigarettes. He went to chewing gum.
Well, at least that one was healthier than the
Yeah.
cigarettes.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. And and then I noticed that, and like I said, working in a treatment center, I seen people who I know guys. I played ball with a guy. The only time he smoked a cigarette is if he drink alcohol.
I know people like that. Yeah,
He
yeah.
gotta have a cigarette. And we went, and then you see him on campus, man. You would be like, man, it's just the same guy that was at the club the Saturday night. And it was like night and day. But on Saturday, we at the club. He got drinks. He got cigarettes, and then and I said, I didn't know you smoke cigarettes. He said, I only smoke when I drink.
Yeah, I know people that do that. Yep. Wow. All right. Well, Miss Janelle, I think we have given her enough for tonight. I again, this is the first time, maybe in a long time, that she has actually hit all four: spiritual, mental, physical, and financial. And I say I can't even tell you which one's suffering the most, but I will tell you that that financial aspect is going to really trigger a lot of things. It can mess up the mental, it can mess up a lot. So fix that wine subscription, focus on that spiritual, because that's going to help you fix a whole lot of things. So between that spiritual and financial, there's a lot of work to do right there. So
Yeah,
again,
but you know what? The mental part is there too.
it,
It's knocking on the door too.
it's a lot in here. This one is, when I said that at the beginning of the show this was going to be heavy, this is heavy because we can spend all night trying to dissect this thing and figure this thing out.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a lot. So now, if you are out there, if you think something differently, Birdman has his thoughts. Of course, I have mine, and you have yours. So if there's anything different, maybe we missed something. Who knows? Again, there's a lot going on here, and you can chime in as well. You can text me at 609 200 1098. Let me know how you feel about tonight's assignment. And on that note, we are going to get into burning questions. You can again chime in on the burning questions tonight by texting. You can also DM on any of the social media platforms that would work on Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok. I believe that would be it as far as the DM direct messaging. Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok. DM me. Let me know how you feel about tonight's burning question. The burning question that I have tonight is: how do we identify when a self care ritual has shifted into a self sabotaging habit? I'm going to read that again. How do we identify when a self care ritual has shifted into a self sabotaging habit? What do you feel about tonight's burning question, Birdman?
That you can tell because that be the number one thing that you'd start. That'd be the top priority in your life. You
Mm,
know that it takes over everything else. That's how I look at it. I know other people gonna look at it differently, but I've always felt like that's gonna be your top priority, and then everything else gonna fall in line. Or you may not, nothing may not even fall in line. That just may be it right there. She can't wait to Wednesday get here. Boom. Why? Because she can drink her wine. And I'm wanting to do the. Never mind. Forget it. yeah, yeah, yeah. That's it. The her top priority is Wednesdays, wine. That's her top priority. But when you having an issue, and I don't care what the issue is, once that becomes top priority, then there are different changes.
mm. Self care ritual has shifted into self sabotaging habit.
Yeah,
Uh, for me personally, I think that I start to dislike it. That's when I know, okay, I don't know. I don't know. Like I have personally set up some, little rituals like, oh, I got to do it this way. I got to do it that way. And oh, if I don't do it this way, then, it's not going to work. When I feel like, okay, how do I have to write words to say? When I feel that I'm working for whatever that goal is, and that the goal isn't working for me, like it becomes a job, or it becomes a duty, or it becomes a task, and I start to dislike it, that's when I'm like, okay, now we got to fix this, because is this really working? I know that why I do X, Y, and Z, because, it's part of self-care, or it's part of something that makes me me, or it's part of whatever. But when it becomes a job and I dislike it, I'm like, yeah, no.
And
That-
I can see, like for me, if I don't if I don't write, I don't care if it's just 4 lines. If I don't write every day, or play the bass guitar every day, or listen to some music with I feel like I'm inspired. Because sometimes I'll sit here and I'll say, man, I ain't did nothing today. And Diana be like, what you mean you ain't did nothing today? She said, you're resting. She said, you need to take a break.
yeah.
And I had a friend went to school with, went to element. We was in, went all through school. And one day I made a comment about that. And then she said, you don't realize, but she said, you do a whole lot. She said, you need to chill and said, watch how things open up for you. And I kind of like, yeah, okay. And Diana, she said that too. She said, you really do a lot. You just need to sit back. But when, I'm a perfectionist, and I can be working on a video, and I can make one word that's not in the poem, but I replace with a different word. I'll stop the video and redo it over. If I do it 3 times, Diana said, hey, hold up, chill out, put it down, sit back, take, do something else.
And that see your ritual, see how I know what you mean, because I do the same thing, but sometimes those things could be too much, and sometimes you got to take a
Yeah.
break.
And she tells me that
I
a lot. She said, well, you've been doing this. Why don't you take a break? Why don't you take a break? Or she said, come on, let's walk outside. And we'll go out, walk in the yard, man. And I was like, oh, wow, man, I didn't see that back there. Oh, okay, then. Like the peach trees back there. I'm looking at them, I'm like, dang, man, they've been growing. She said, well, that's because you ain't been paying attention to them.
mm, yeah, I sometimes I feel like I get mental overload, like if I study a lot, if I'm consuming a lot of content, if I'm working on something, one day I'll just be like, you know what, today I know I got my little ritual, I know I got my little
Mm-hmm.
routine, but absolutely not. Today I'm just gonna go ahead and shut it all
Yeah.
down.
And see, I used to do that on vacations too. We on vacation, I do an open mic. Last year when we went out there, and I said, I'm not doing no open mics. I ain't doing no open mics. So we went out there, and that's before her daughter moved here. She was out there. She always knew I love to do open mics. So her daughter, the place I used to go to, they had they made a bunch of changes. They didn't have mics no more. And so like we was sitting around, and she was looking, and she said, oh, I'm looking for some open mics for you. I said, and I think she thought I was joking. I said, no, I told you I'm not doing nothing. I said, I'm gonna take
Mm,
pictures and shoot videos, and I said that's gonna be enough for me right there. And she was like, yeah, okay then.
right, right. Sometimes you got to shut it down and realizing when you are doing some self-sabotaging habits, like,
Exactly.
like we doing too much, like we need to pull back. What we do on a regular basis, I get it, it's a lot. We create a lot, we do a lot, but sometimes we need our
Yeah,
rest
cause see,
too.
like when I go to Austin, I know I'm gonna do an open mic. Okay, I go do the open mic. When I go to San Antonio, it's like I ain't doing nothing but hanging out with my sons.
Mm,
Don't get me wrong. Sometimes if they got something to do, I will get up early in the morning. I'll go to the Japanese garden, and I'll take pictures and shoot videos. But I don't do nothing with it. I don't do nothing with any of my videos until I get home, and then
right.
I'll look at my videos, and then I'll just start writing. But like
Right, right.
now, when I go to San Antonio, I sit up in the hotel room and I wait, and they say, "Oh, hey, Dad, we home," or "Yeah, we home. Come on over." And I'll go on over there, and that's just the way it is. I said, "This is how I'm doing." I know San Antonio have readings, but I really don't look for no readings when I go there. I look to spend time with my sons.
Right.
So sometimes you have to pull back, man, because you can't overload. And that's what I'm scared about this lady here. She gonna overload because then the wine, if she ain't gonna have the effect from the wine, then she gonna go to something harder.
I know what you mean about that. We definitely have to make sure that we take care of our mental health. You nailed it with that. You said that mental one is knocking at the door. You are absolutely right. Now I get what you mean. Now I get what you mean as we sum this thing up. Yeah. I feel that they're all interconnected, and one will trigger the other, and one will cause one to explode versus the other. So
Yes.
yeah. If you want to chime in on tonight's burning question, please feel free to text me at 609-200-1098. Again, that number is 609-200-1098. That is the official 4-1 podcast reading between the wines hotline. And yes, this has been another episode 44. So as we get out of here, Birdman, what do you have going on in your world? What do you want to share with
Oh,
us?
nothing. Just my Amazon.com/Birdman313. 10 of my books are there. You can go to Coffee, Wine, and Words on Spotify. I have 11 videos there. I'm also on Instagram at Birdman31355. My YouTube channel, which have a lot of videos. Um, Either they're at performance at live events or just out in the parks and stuff. And that's YouTube author poet Birdman31355. And other than that, see tomorrow night um you know where Hackensack is? New Jersey.
Hackensack, New
Yeah.
Jersey? Oh,
Okay.
absolutely. Yeah.
There's a little group we get together because they shut down the open mic on Zoom and the storytelling. So it's a group of us that get together and the same like what we're talking about now. We really just talk about what's going on with us. That's tomorrow. That's tomorrow night, and then Saturday I have a Zoom reading, and then I don't know if I'm gonna be doing what's the name of that spot in Sugar Land? Imperial. I don't know.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Imperial
Imperial
Wine.
Wine. I don't
Yep.
know why I can't remember that name. I don't know if that's gonna be this Saturday or next Saturday, and then Sunday I'll be doing a Zoom performance poets, and that's out of West Palm Beach, Florida.
No, that's what's up. That sounds
Yeah.
nice. Yeah. All right. Everybody, please go ahead and support Birdman 313. And of course, you'll be back next week, same place, same time. And on that note, I guess we're going to call it a
Yeah.
wrap.
Everybody just take care. I'm enjoying this.
Yes, this has been a great
Yeah.
episode tonight. Definitely some breakthrough
Oh
moments here.
yeah.
And on that note, I will talk to you and I'll see you when I see you. And yeah, we'll be in
Oh
touch.
yeah. Take care.
All right. You have a good
You do the
night. Thank
same.
you. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. That was author Birdman 313. Yeah, like I said, this was a heavy episode. Lots of information, lots of ups, downs. There's a lot going on in this episode here. If you heard something tonight that sparked something in you, especially when we speak about from the financial aspect of it, you can head on over to larrygaines.com and you can sign up for a free 15-minute consultation. Again, that is at laryngaines.com. You can apply to see if you qualify for the coaching sessions. Again, that is a free 15-minute consultation. I did release the August Whispers of Wisdom newsletter this month. So if you head on over to laryngaines.com and sign up for Whispers of Wisdom, that is my monthly inspirational newsletter centered around debt-free living. That is available at laryngaines.com. If you sign up for today, you will be set for the September release. So I just released the August version today. So you have to wait a couple weeks until the September version comes out. So you want to head on over to laryngaines.com, sign up for that today so that you can get that free inspirational content that will help you on your debt-free living journey. And on that note, I want to say thank you so much to everybody out there who joined. Thank you so much to SOS, D-Live family. Thank you so much for hanging out there. I appreciate you. Drop it in the comments. Let me know where you are listening from. Twitch, YouTube. Thank you so much to everybody out there all over who has joined in and chimed in and supported. Again, laryngaines.com. You can also email me at info@laryngaines.com. And on that note, I will see you when I see you. I also want to add a very special welcome to new student who is going to be joining us for coaching sessions Thursday. So stay tuned for that as well. We have a new student coming in for coaching sessions Thursday. We have some great information coming up real soon. So stay posted. Check me out on all of my social media content: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, D-Live, Twitch, Daily Motion. You never know what you're going to get when I'm going to post. So definitely stay connected across the board. And I will see you when I see you. Have a good night.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And that's a wrap on today's episode of the 411 podcast and Reading Between the Wines, where growth is always on the menu, and every pour reveals a little more truth. The conversation doesn't end here. Have something to say? Want to weigh in on tonight's burning questions? Text us anytime at the official 411 podcast and Reading Between the Wines hotline at 609-200-1098. Stay plugged in across all social media platforms at Laryngaines. We're live and in the conversation on Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, YouTube, D-Live, Twitch, and Daily Motion. Prefer to listen on the go? The audio version is streaming on most major podcast outlets. Until we meet again, take what you've learned, sip slow, speak truth, and remember, transformation starts within. Powered by the Black Diamond Consultations Network.